These are vintage photographs of famous celebrities taken at offbeat moments and intimate instances that really capture their true nature. You may probably have seen some of them before, but I'm pretty sure not all of them. In any case, these rare photos deserve another look. Hi, welcome to Allinall. Enjoy the video. 19-year-old Robin Williams in 1969. 4-year-old Barack Obama at the beach with his grandfather. Young Hugh Laurie, Rowan Atkinson, Tony Slattery, Stephen Fry, Penny Dwyer, Emma Thompson, and Paul Shearer winning the first Perrier Comedy Awards in 1981. 26-year-old Kurt Cobain, showing a kitten to his daughter Frances in 1993. Tobey Maguire and Leonardo DiCaprio met at an audition at a young age. Best buddies since the 90s. 20-year-old Helena Bonham Carter in 1986. 26-year-old Marilyn Monroe working out in 1952. 7-year-old Drew Barrymore giving Princess Diana an E.T. doll, while Robert McNaughton and Steven Spielberg is looking on at the London premiere of E.T. Young Maggie Smith in the 60s and 70s. 36-year-old Harrison Ford in 1978. 7-year-old George Clooney with his family in 1968. 16-year-old Jessica Biel and 14-year-old Scarlett Johansson in 1998. 26-year-old President Joe Biden. Gillian Anderson with a banana in her nose on the set of The X-Files. Actress Meryl Streep, riding in a New York City subway train in 90s. 13-year-old Elijah Wood and 20-year-old Leonardo DiCaprio at the 66th Academy Awards in 1994. Audrey Hepburn pulls a funny face on the set of the romantic comedy How to Steal a Million in Paris in the 60s. Young Stephen Hawking with his first wife Jane in 1965. Young Morgan Freeman. Clint Eastwood skateboarding in Rome in 1965. 13-year-old Justin Timberlake and 14-year-old Ryan Gosling in 1994. David Bowie and Iggy Pop in Moscow in 1976. Kate Moss and Johnny Depp at their front door in 1994. 3-year-old Robert De Niro with his 24-year-old father Robert De Niro Sr. in 1946. 15-year-old Eva Menz getting an autograph from 17-year-old Alyssa Milano. 16-year-old Heath Ledger in 1995. 7-year-old Frank Sinatra, circa 1922. Pamela Anderson in her early 20s. 17-year-old Elizabeth Taylor giving a bath to her Cocker Spaniel Amy in 1949. Paul Newman and Clint Eastwood met by a chance outside a motel in Tucson, Arizona in 1972. John Travolta posing with his pilot hat in 1985. You didn't know he is a certified private pilot. 9-year-old Drew Barrymore lights Stephen King's cigarette. Young Janet and Michael Jackson. Young Christian Bale playing with his Amstrad computer. 22-year-old Christopher Walken. 20-year-old Bob Marley at his wedding day in 1966. 13-year-old Britney Spears and 14-year-old Christina Aguilera in 1994. Pablo Picasso smoking a cigarette on the beach in 1947. Jim Carrey as a young boy and a young man. Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones Tina Turner and David Bowie at the Ritz, New York, in 1983. Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger dancing in Antibes at the Cannes Film Festival in 1990. 16-year-old Nicole Kidman at a private photo session following the release of her movie BMX Bandit in Sydney in 1983. Jack Nicholson with a magnifying glass in 1986. 4-year-old Stephen King. Young Bill Murray with a mustache. 12-year-old Milla Jovovich playing Super Mario Bros. On her Nintendo with her dog. Peter Jackson, Hugo Weaving, Ian McKellen, and Cate Blanchett hanging out. Young Lisa Kudrow, Jennifer Aniston, and Courtney Cox hanging out. 23-year-old Elvis Presley with a young polio patient in 1958. Stellan Skarsgård and a 2-year-old Alexander Skarsgård in 1978. 18-year-old Peter Dinklage in his graduation photo from Delbarton School in Morristown in 1987. Bridget Bardot picking her purse from the car in St. Tropez in 1958. 14-year-old Brad Pitt with his basketball team, Cherokee Rejects, in 1977. Meryl Streep during production of Sophie's Choice in 1982. Jerry Stiller and Ben Stiller at the 45th and 8th Avenue in New York City. Young Arnold Schwarzenegger holding a doll in the 70s. Benedict Cumberbatch posing with a newspaper. Young Martha Stewart modeling in the 60s. Greg Orme, Kelly Allman, Barack Obama, and Megan Hughes on the night of their senior prom in 1979. 15-year-old Winston Churchill as a Harrow schoolboy in 1889. 12-year-old Muhammad Ali posing prior to his amateur ring debut in 1954. 20-year-old Carrie Fisher in 1976. Young Sofia Vergara. Ernest Hemingway in a classic pose in Cuba. Sean Connery taking a nap on the set of Dr. No in 1962. Kate Moss, Johnny Depp, and Iggy Pop talking in Finsbury Park, London in 1996. 22-year-old Stephen Colbert on his university campus in 1986. Young Rob Lowe, Tom Cruise, and Emilio Estevez in the 80s. James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, Kirk Hammett, and Cliff Burton in their early 20s outside their Metallica mansion in El Cerrito in 1985. 19-year-old Barack Obama with his friends Mark Anderson and Romeo Garcia from Occidental College at a festival in Pasadena Central Park in 1980. Young Tony Hawk in the 80s. 19-year-old John Lennon with his first wife Cynthia Lennon in 1959. Jack Nicholson and Roman Polanski vacationing in the Swiss Alps in 1975. Young Harold Ramis on the set of Ghostbusters. 40-year-old Michael Caine with his second wife Shakira in 1973. Bill Murray dancing with Gilda Radner at Studio 54 in 1978. 16-year-old Sid Vicious going to a David Bowie concert at Earl's Court in 1973. Mark Zuckerberg in his childhood. Dolly Parton and Mick Jagger after her concert at the Bottom Line in 1977. John Lennon and Yoko Ono in Rue d'Antibes, Cannes in 1971. Young Walt Disney eating chicken in the 40s. Young Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear. Young Vladimir Putin with daughters. 12-year-old Bill Clinton with his saxophone in 1958. Stanley Kubrick on the set of A Clockwork Orange in 1971. David Bowie, Iggy Pop, and Lou Reed in 1972. Allen Ginsberg at marijuana rallies, mid-60s. Simon Pegg at age 18. Jimi Hendrix dressed as a Santa Claus for a vintage advert in 1967. Michael Jackson, Francis Ford Coppola, and George Lucas. Sylvester Stallone, posing with a fan at the Kahala Hilton Hotel, Honolulu, Hawaii, in 1983. Michael Caine and Nancy Sinatra having dinner at the restaurant. Young Bruce Lee, posing on a tiger carpet. Debbie Reynolds and a young Carrie Fisher. Steve McQueen and Ollie McGraw in 1963. 17-year-old Bryan Cranston, with his chemistry club partners posing for a high school yearbook photo in 1973. 19-year-old Andre the Giant during a fashion exhibition. Young John Stamos. Peter Jackson, with puppets for Meet the Feebles in 1989. Jeremy Irons and Sinead Cusack in the garden of their New Hampstead home in 1974. Baby John Stamos taking a bath with his sisters. Elvis Presley and his gun collection. 19-year-old Donald Trump in the New York Military Academy's 1964 yearbook, where he was voted Ladies' Man.